All right, well, you just performed Deleterious Needs Moonlight and a remixed version of Caught Up. And this is a really, really fantastic set. It's definitely one of my favorites. So do you want to talk about these songs and why you picked them?
I picked them because they were vocally demanding.
Yeah.
I feel like all my songs are vocally demanding, but these ones, they're vocally demanding and they show kind of like the scope of what my music actually is. So I hit all the different points. It's a little bit of drum and bass, jungle. There is some, lo-fi in there. There's some neo soul. So just a lot of different mix. So that's why I decided to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're going to be discussing this later in the interview as well. But I am really interested in it's really great to hear this combination of genres that you wouldn't really suspect that would go together, jungle and R&B, and you do it very, very well. So it's very great.
Thank you.
Yes.
I try my best.
I can tell. But with Moonlight and Caught Up, they're also a part of your small collection of EPs titled the Small B Tapes. But why did you choose to separate these songs into 3 distinct EPs?
Because I'm crazy.
Yeah.
I just had a thought after releasing my first big mixtape. Sorry, I forgot about yesterday. I just had this idea when I heard the beat for Needs. I was like, I imagined myself in, I don't know, some club somewhere just being thrown against the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, let's make some music out of that. And then from there, it just evolved into Deleterious. And then I was like, wait, I have something, but I don't want to release it all at the same time. So then I was like, And I kind of always had this idea of having some sort of project name name something with a tape. So I was like, Small Beat Tapes. That works, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I brought it to our producer, Quasi, of course. He was like, you're crazy. And I was like, I know, so let's do it. And we did it. And from there, we were recording Needs, Deleterious, and then we did a song that's cute with Big Kia. Shout out to Big Kia. And then we released that as Small Beat Tape 1, and then so on and so forth.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed listening to that. I was just, at first I haven't really seen a lot of artists based out of the Minneapolis and St. Paul do the same thing, so it was really, I wanted to ask why.
Yeah.
And it's a good reason, it's something different, something crazy, but yeah. And touching back on the sound of your music, it isn't common within contemporary hip-hop. We see artists now like Pink Pantheress, pop up with this kind of sound, but still not pushed out into the mainstream as much as we'd like to see. So
very soon.
Very soon.
She's gonna take over.
She is. She is. I believe it. But how did this?
Heard it here.
Yeah. How did this unique blend of bass-heavy instrumentals and lo-fi beats come to be?
Well, really, it's music of my childhood. So I'm really into Sonic games. So that's what I grew up playing. And if you play a Sonic game, especially Sonic Unleashed or something like that, there was always a beat that was really, really fast, but it moved you, and you were like, oh my God, I could play this stage forever and ever and ever. So that's really where it stems from, and just arcade music and just sort of that vibe. And then the lo-fi came in because I kind of like that, DIY sound to it. It's fresh, it's not really edited or anything like that. So that's kind of why I kind of chose to go in that direction. Because at first I was trying different things, and it just wasn't. It just didn't fit me until I actually recorded Needs, and I was like, oh yeah, this is why haven't I been doing this? And I was like, it's music that I already listened to, because drum and bass is not, it's a big genre, but it's very, very niche. So the fact that it's becoming more mainstream is just, a sign that I was moving in the right direction. Mm-hmm. So
yeah. And yeah, again, it sounds amazing. So I can definitely tell. Even with these artists that we mentioned earlier, it is slowly but surely breaking to that mainstream.
Yes.
Yeah. And taking it back a little bit, you have this deep passion for the performing arts, and you have additionally have a background in musical theater as well. So when did this first begin? Was this passion of yours brought down to you from your family? Was it just something you did at the spur of the moment?
Well, shout outs to my mom. She got me into tap. So that's how it started. It started in tap when I was 11. And then by that time, my first theater role was being Tin Man in The Wiz. So
Really?
that's what I did in 7th grade. And then it just grew from there. But when I was in high school, I really didn't do theater. And so, graduating and going into my first year of college, I was nursing. I was a nursing major.
Really?
And then it switched to theater. And then I just did that. I always had a love for it. I always had a knack for just, dancing and singing and acting. I always had a dream of being on like Disney Channel.
Yeah.
I mean, what kid didn't,
Yeah.
but
I was going to say all of us, yeah.
definitely a huge dream of mine. And then especially, doing auditions for The Voice and American Idol when I was in high school. So definitely the path that I was meant to take. And it definitely prepared me for now. But yeah, I did a whole bunch of plays. I was actually Donkey in Shrek the Musical. So
Really?
yes, I wore a donkey costume.
Oh.
It was hot.
I bet.
And the ice packs, they didn't even stay.
You had
It
ice
didn't
packs
work.
in the
It
suit.
didn't work.
Didn't
It didn't work. So
Don't play
yeah.
donkey. Now we know. So you submitted, tracks to American Idol, and tell me more about that experience.
Ooh, so American Idol, it was actually auditions.
Oh, auditions, yeah.
So I was auditioning for The Voice, American Idol, because I was like, I need to get on to television. I need to be out there. And of course, at the time, I was just not prepared. So it didn't work out. But I'm definitely grateful for those experiences when I was like 15, 17, auditioning for those things. And I did it by myself every time. So
Really?
I would literally go online, sign up, and then I would just go to the auditions by myself. I would literally tell my parents hey, I got this audition. Bye. And they'd be like, okay. So yeah.
Yeah. What did this teach you about the music industry? Was it was there anything that you immediately found out about going to these auditions?
You don't meet the celebrity judges right away.
Really?
That's what I learned very fast. You meet producers, so it's just a line of producers and just really showing them what you can do, and then it just transforms from that. So they pass you along.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely for the music industry, I really didn't know much until I got into Basement Gang, what I'm in now. So at first I was just DIYing it. I'm at home on my laptop.
Yeah. And while we're on the topic of Basement Gang, and you were part of this, group based out of Minneapolis, and would you like to introduce the other members, and how this group was created?
Yeah, so the story goes, as I've been told, June, the Kid, Sekou, and Quasi, they were doing music, and they were like, well, by the time that I came in, it was 2 years ago, that they were like, well, we're a group called Basement Gang, and, we're really going to start taking music seriously. And at that time, I was, still in the middle of a pandemic, a panoramic, as I call it. And I'm trying to record music, and then Quasi just hit me up for a studio session, and then we just started working from there. But yeah, as the story goes, June and Sekou knew each other, and I knew Melvin and Sekou Quasi. Sorry. Don't want to give out his name like that, but yeah. I knew them for a very long time. So yeah, we all just kind of were in our own little worlds until we came together, just had a studio session, and we just started working together. But yeah, definitely June and Sekou, and Quasi, they were in the group. They were rapping. So they were releasing projects before I came in. But yeah, that's how it goes. And then I just popped along, and then they were like, yeah, CRAISHON's here. And I'm like, yay!
Accepted you with open arms.
And then from there, we've just been working. I would just say we've just been working. So it's just nonstop. And, we all have our own different lives, but we come together for this one thing that's, really important to us. And it's just, opening up so many doors. So it's really, really a blessing.
Yeah. And you've mentioned that you've been performing with one another and working for years. And you have a show coming up actually on December 19th at 7th Street Entry. What can audiences expect to hear from your collective performances?
Y'all not ready. That's all I'm gonna say. You're not ready. Well, what I can say is that get your tickets.
Yeah.
Get your tickets. If you want to see what Basement Gang can do and all the other amazing artists that are on the show, SJ, the Afrocentric Ratchet, RZ Shaheed, we got Big Kia, we got Bushido Chop, we got Juice Lord that's hosting, we got on the ones and twos, we got So Two Dot. So just come out, get your ticket. We're still on pre-sale right now, so definitely if you want to tune in, December 19th, that's where you need to be, okay?
Okay, y'all heard it. You heard it. Pop out. And
for real, pop out.
Mm-hmm.
Ski.
And coming back to your sound again, it is comprised of lo-fi beats, moving 808s. We've touched on this again, kind of jungle, influenced. But are there any specific pieces of classic musical theater, such as Les Mis or Phantom at the Opera, that have influenced your sound at all?
Oh, yes, definitely. One of my huge influences in terms of voice and diction and consonants and syllables is Barbra Streisand. If you that's all I gotta say. That's all you gotta say, Barbra Streisand.
Really?
And but definitely musicals like The Wiz, which I grew up on, was very, very important to me growing up. Also Rent, that was also one of my favorite musicals. Les Mis too, yes. And then, there's so many, and I've been in so many, so it's too many to name off the top of my head, but definitely I'm a musical theater head. Definitely. Oh, and Shucked, the new Broadway musical with Alex Newell.
Okay, check it out.
Influence, a voice. Alex, you did that.
Nice. Yeah, it's really interesting to hear what sorts of, plays influenced what this is today, what you have out. Yeah. And being involved within this environment, many actors like yourself, spend countless hours rehearsing their lines and blocking their movements, way out before their performances. And do you feel this experience as a performing artist has impacted your creative process at all?
Yes. Practice. So then when I'm nervous as heck, it's already in me and I could just do it. And then I could worry about how is my hands moving? Am I truly using my diaphragm? But yeah, it's definitely helped me be really consistent in practicing. I would say that's the biggest thing. Also keeping up with my voice. Making sure that it's healthy, not to be screaming and, yelling and all that, and just taking care of my voice and, doing what I need to do there. So definitely, and also theater keeps me on a schedule. That's what it helped me do too, because we had so many shows, practices, and then I had classes on top of that. So definitely it, helps me keep a schedule. I also try to give that to the guys too, a schedule. Okay.
Yeah. Gotta keep everyone on check.
I be scheduling things. I mean, we all be scheduling things, but yeah.
Yeah, there's so many good habits that can come out of theater.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. And I doubt that those are the only ones, because I'm sure you can list off so many more.
Yes. Blocking.
Yeah, for sure.
That's another thing I always worry about, so yeah.
Aside from your single, Ghosted, that was released this summer, can audiences anticipate the release of any new music in the near future?
Of course.
Good to hear.
Yes, I'm always working on something. Right now, me and the guys are working on something really, really special. That's, supposed to be coming out during our show. So stay tuned for that. That's all I'm saying. Yes, of course, there's always more. If I'm not singing, what am I doing? Sleeping.
Good to know. Good to know you're cooking back there with Basement Gang. You got good things coming. All right. Is there anything else you'd like to leave the audiences with?
As an artist, make sure you always trust your gut. Don't let anybody like try to seep in your mind and tell you that no, that's not gonna work, because they don't know what you know, okay? And they can't feel what you feel. So always trust your gut. You know, if that note was meant to be there, baby, it's meant to be there.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thank you so much for everything, for coming in. It was an absolute pleasure to have you.
Yes, thank y'all so much. Again, y'all are so sweet and whole weed.
All right. See ya.